My name is River Rommel. I am studying conservation and environmental science here at UWM. I am from a very small town that you probably have not heard of, Wisconsin. It is about 35 to 40 minutes north of La Crosse. I first heard about a cappella. I was fairly young. It was in my elementary school. They came to our tiny little elementary school out of 3 that are in our school district, it was specifically Colder Weather by the Zach Brown band that I fell in love with, and I saw them and I was like, wow, this is cool and this is something that I'm interested in. In a cappella, my number one goal has never been to compete, it's never been to go to finals, it's always been to make the best music that I can possibly make and push my peers around me to do the same thing. And to touch the people in the audience. I mean, that's what it's all really about, is putting on a show. I think Vocal Point at my high school always did a very good job of prioritizing that. We always had skits. Our showcases were always more fun than they were how good we are. Making people laugh and cry both in a set was always one of the things I loved the most. My director, Ryan Stumpkes, is a second father to me. And I always feel weird saying that because I love my father, but Ryan was definitely a second father to me. I spent that much time with him. I would see him at 7 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And on Wednesdays, I would see him during the school day, and then on Wednesdays, I would see him from 6:30 p.m. after wrestling practice to 9 p.m. at night for an additional night rehearsal. My very first ICHSA performance, I won Outstanding Vocal Percussionist, and our group, the JV group out of the blue at my high school, it was the first time that that group had ever placed that quarterfinal. So it was really good. I grew up wrestling, so I already had this competitive nature. So to share that with people, at the time and even still now, it's like, oh, it's these music kids. No shame against them, but I get to show and I get to carry this team and camaraderie mentality I've carried from wrestling in a sport. I get to bring it in that, and that was one of my favorite things about it. Because of the experience that I had in high school, and it's something I've loved with all of my heart, still do, of course. Tyler Grant and I had come across each other multiple times in the high school a cappella scene. We were never that close, definitely just acquaintances, but we ran into each other at a show, so we decided we'll start this group. And shout out to all the people who auditioned and got into the group in March. Even if they didn't re-audition, they were still a huge, vital step in that process. To me, public hearing more than anything else is the biggest thing I'm learning from it so far is trusting the process.
Even if we take that long break, make sure we're not, that's not slowing down our tempo when we come back in.
I've definitely become the executive, I think is the best word. Some people have said like the face of the group. I don't like that because I think everybody represents themselves. Head is another word that people have used. But I think being a co-founder and people seeing my experience and understanding that I might not be the best at everything all the time, but I am trying and I am listening to them and learning with them. Our quarterfinal, actually, we started it must have been 3 weeks before our quarterfinal, we started our set. We had 3 songs. We actually only had 2 at the time. We had a third that was never arranged. We ended up picking one that we had a while ago. One of the biggest things, it was 3 to 4 weeks before quarterfinals that we started our set and built something incredible. Then we won our quarterfinal with people out of the water. Semifinals, it was a little more complicated. It was about, do we get into this right away, 3 rehearsals a week, work it, or there's also the fact, are we gonna burn ourselves out? Are we going to get so tired of the set that we don't have an emotional connection to it anymore? It's just a set that we're doing to compete with. My biggest hope for public hearing in the future is that it outlasts my time at this school, that my class doesn't just graduate and then it dies. I hope to create kind of a community that we see at like Madison or the Twin Cities or even Parkside with their a cappella scene. The absolute last words I want to say are, I know I can look everybody in that group in the eyes and tell them how proud I am of them, and know that I'm not lying, and know that I'm not just saying that to make them feel good. I can look all 17 of those people in the eye and tell them that I appreciate them, their hard work and their commitment.
And your quarterfinal champion moving on to the semifinals on March 26th.